Adrift in the Arctic, we hear from Mads Mikkelsen and Joe Penna on a film that takes us to the farthest reaches of the icy north. And 19th century portraits come to life as Nadar, the father of modern photography, is honoured in a new exhibition here in Paris. We're kicking off today's show in the frozen north as the film Arctic takes us to an icy wilderness for an adventure story starring Mads Mikkelsen. It's Joe Penna's directorial debut, and the film has been applauded for its quiet portrayal of survival against the elements. France 24's Eve Jackson sat down with Mads Mikkelsen and Joe Penna at the Cannes Film Festival to hear more about filming in some very challenging conditions.
Mads and Joe, congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
Mads, it comes off the back of two big Hollywood blockbusters that you recently starred in, Doctor Strange and the Star Wars spin-off Rogue One. You've said that Doctor Strange was a very hard shoot. How did filming in the Arctic, a man trying to survive after a plane crash, compare to that?
There's nothing that compares to that. That was by far the toughest thing I've ever done in my life. And I think it came as a surprise because obviously I read the script and know what we were going through. But the conditions there were just so overwhelming. I mean, it's our worst enemy, and at the same time, it's our biggest ally, because the main character of the film is the Arctic.
Joe, this is your first feature film.
That's it.
Why did you choose such a hard shoot?
I didn't choose it. It's what the script needed. There's no place on Earth that is more desolate than the Arctic. There's no place that's more a harsher environment to survive than that. So it's to tell a story of resilience, of altruism, despite all of the things that he had to go through. It had to be in the Arctic.
Has there ever been a time in either of your lives where your survival instincts have been tested?
On the film? Well, I mean, obviously, we're not in that situation. We can go home to a kind of hotel or a roof, right? Sure. But it was so draining. I mean, I lost half of my body weight shooting the film, and I didn't even have a shower scene to show it off, right? So,
what are the best survival films that you've seen?
Oh, All Is Lost is incredible. The Revenant, we took some ideas from both of those. We watched A Man Escaped. That's not quite survival film, but a similar aesthetic kind of minimalistic approach to it. Gravity is wonderful for multiple different reasons. Yeah.
I'll go down a different path, and I'll say Taxi Driver.
Oh, there you go.
Merely because obviously it is one-to-one surviving here, but the story is told about people here. There's an enormous difference between surviving and being alive. And then you can find people right in the city who's going through the exact same story. And I think Taxi Driver is a good example of a survivor in an environment that he doesn't belong to.
During the shoot, how much was global warming on your minds?
We were losing snow really quick.
Yeah, well, but it came back really quick as well. So, I mean, it was not really a topic in the film. I mean, we were just trying to get the shot in the can, right? We shot it in 19 days.
19 days.
Supposedly 25, but we lost some days and we just have to pack the other ones. But in many ways, the film is also telling a story about how little importance we are to nature, but how great importance nature is to us, right?
In this film, you're sort of a hero,
Yes.
but you are, though, Hollywood's go-to villain. And when it comes to films like Casino Royale, where you played Le Chiffre, also the series Hannibal Lecter.
Another misunderstood person.
And the villain in Doctor Strange.
Right.
Do you think European actors get pigeonholed in Hollywood?
I do. I don't mean, it used to be the Brits, right? They had that perfect accent to be villains. And then they turned to the Germans, and now it's the Scandinavians, apparently. Yeah, I don't mind it. I find it interesting. And I find it interesting to do, if you can throw everything into a part, that he's a hero and a villain, like in Arctic. I mean, he is a hero, but he also abandons her. He becomes the executioner, he becomes the villain, right? I think that a good story and a good character is written like that, when you have everything in one character.
And you were in the Star Wars spin-off Rogue One.
And I was not a villain.
And you were not a villain. The next one, Solo, a Star Wars story, is showing here at the festival. You're going to get a chance to see it?
I hope so.
I'll have you as my +1.
I got it. I'm going to watch it.
Is there another franchise you'd like to be in? You've done James Bond, you've done Star Wars.
I never thought about doing franchises. I mean, I've done some flying kung fu in Doctor Strange now. Maybe at the time to do a zombie film, I think it is.
And Joe, you have more than 2.7 million subscribers on a YouTube channel that's called Mystery Guitar Man, where you sing and play the guitar.
Sure.
And Mads, you're actually a professional dancer.
Well, I see where this is going.
Oh, I see. She wants a music video out of us.
And gymnast. Have you got anything that you could show us, or have you ever performed together?
We haven't worked on it lately.
We got to work on our act.
Yeah, we have to.
Can you show us on the album cover?
The album cover is
What it will look like?
What was it? You had an idea?
Oh, yeah, I have to go into the Mystery Guitar Man style, with the glasses, and I'll do the crazy face.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you. Congratulations.
The UK's Turner Prize has become a byword for edgy, experimental and often downright confounding contemporary art, and this year's winner is no exception. Charlotte Prodger was singled out for her 33-minute video called Bridget, which she's described as her way of bringing queer stories to the mainstream. Prodger's work regularly addresses gender, identity, language and technology. The 44-year-old Scottish artist was relatively unknown until her installations were shown as part of the Turner Prize shortlist exhibition. And if you can't make it to the Tate in London, Charlotte Prodger's work will be on show next year as she's representing Scotland at the Venice Biennale. We're looking back to the very beginnings of that technology now, thanks to a man best known for his iconic photographs of France's 19th century cultural elite. Combining artistic sensibility with a strong technical knowledge of lighting and even aerial navigation, French photographer Nadar revolutionised the medium. France's National Library is now holding the first major exhibition of his work. Erin Agunke tells us more.
Photography neophytes may not know his name, but most have almost certainly seen the work of pioneer portrait photographer Félix Tournachon, better known as Nadar, a masterful photographer and also an innovative adventurer. In 1858, Nadar took the world's first aerial photograph aboard a hot air balloon. The photo is long gone, but it remains a testament to his genius. Originally a cartoonist, Nadar delved into photography in his mid-30s. Numerous 19th century artists flocked to his Parisian studio to sit for his now well-known portraits. An imposing depiction of French novelist George Sand, the melancholic spleen of poet Charles Baudelaire, the dazzling gaze of Alexandre Dumas, the majestic profile of actress Sarah Bernard, or Victor Hugo on his deathbed. Today's history books overflow with his portraits. Specialists say his photos are remarkably modern.
There's something about his photos that never ages. They're both simple and powerful. They're natural. The subject's personalities are extremely present. His photos are much livelier than those of other photographs of the time.
A specialist in vintage photos, Fabian Ham reconstructs what Nadar's studio would have looked like, complete with antique box cameras similar to what he would have used. Inside the studio, he used a camera attached to a tripod for portraits, and he used different models for photos taken outside the studio.
When he worked outside of the studio, he used field cameras, which are smaller models that work well and can fit into cases. You see, they're much more compact.
It was this type of camera that Nadar took into a hot air balloon to take the first ever aerial photo. Until then, unimaginable.
It's hard to imagine how impressed Nadar's contemporaries were when they discovered these images. They totally transformed our perspective on certain landscapes. Before, no one could have imagined what a photograph taken from above would have looked like.
The aisles of the National Library in Paris abound with Nadar's work. Library curator Silvio Benat sheds light on the boundless talent hidden in these photographic treasures. Nadar invented the first underground photo. In 1862, he used artificial light for the first time ever in the catacombs of Paris.
No one before him ever thought of linking electricity and photography. His genius was in his understanding of the century's best inventions.
Nadar died in 1910, an icon for generations of photographers to come.
We're wrapping up the show with a trip to France's other city of lights, and that's Lyon. The birthplace of cinema is also home to a spectacular sound and light show every year, and 2018's edition looks to be just as kaleidoscopic. For 4 nights, the city's buildings and streets are illuminated with projections and installations. We'll leave you with a preview. Do remember to check out our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Stay with us here on France 24. There's more news coming up after this.